Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Litchfield Planning Board meeting of August 16th, 2022. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I guess I'll start with the roll members. Michael Proto, Chair.
Kate Stevens, Vice Chair.
Ron Stevens, member.
Kimberly Queenan, Selectmen's Rep.
Sam Terrell, member.
James Buffetti, member.
Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome Jamin Kara, our circuit rider from NRPC, and obviously Joan Gibbon, our planning board administrator. We'll first start off with public input on non-agenda items. Are there any items this evening that people would wish to comment on? Okay, hearing none, I will close public input on non-agenda items, and we'll start with number 1 on the agenda, which is Litchfield Library Trustees proposal for pavilion at the library site 269 Charles Bancroft Highway. Are any representatives of the library present? Okay, well, please come forward, have a seat, and introduce yourselves to the board.
I'm Vicki Barrick, the Library Director. I'm Donna Ferguson, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. So I guess, Joan, you had printed out this statute, section 674, and it looks as though it has to do with government land use. And the purpose of the statute, if any municipality has any proposed governmental use of property within its jurisdiction, which constitutes a substantial change in use or substantial new use, written notification shall contain plan specifications, explanations of proposed changes available at the time, a statement of governmental nature of the use as set forth in paragraph 1, and a proposed construction schedule. It does provide the representative government entity provided the notice shall be available to present plans, specifications, and construction schedule, and to provide explanations. The governing body or your planning board, that would be us, may issue non-binding written comments relative to conformity or non-conformity of the proposal with normally applicable land use regulations to the sponsor of the governmental use within 30 days after hearing. So I guess there is a proposal that has come forward from the library to build a pavilion. I guess I'll let you guys explain a little bit about that. So.
The pavilion we're looking to construct will be 20 by 30 on a concrete slab with electrical. And that would allow us to hold programming outdoors. We already do that in the summer, so it's really not any sort of a change. We've been renting a 20 by 30 tent. It'd be nice not to do that. But having the pavilion, since we have a tent for 6 weeks, having the pavilion would mean we could do larger programs outdoors really year round, including snowman building things, and it could be used quite a bit. So yeah, that is our proposal. We actually got a bid on it about a year and a half ago now. It's taken a long time to get here.
Okay.
And so we're having that updated at this time to
Right.
see where we're at.
Any plans or anything that have been
No, I don't have plans yet. The gentleman that we've been working with is, I always get it wrong, I think it's BTW, Benwood. And he built the pavilion that's over at Millbrook Park. So it would be very similar to that.
Okay.
So yeah, we just kind of wanted to know what the process is, and Joan did share this document with us as well. So
Sure.
gives us a little more framework.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, does the board have any questions for the library? So this is certainly would deal with a particular governmental use, not necessarily residential use. The library is certainly free to do what it wishes in terms of that. But I think it was nice of them to come in to the planning board to provide an opportunity for you guys to comment and maybe even ask questions and so forth. So we do appreciate that, you coming forward this evening and providing us with the information for this proposed pavilion. Sounds like a great project.
So.
I think for the town and yeah, definitely education-wise, I think it's a great thing too. So, I mean, certainly our comments are not binding, and we can certainly set something.
Suggested you come here as a courtesy, and we do appreciate that. If anyone didn't see the meeting, you were going to be using impact fees
Yes.
to do this, which I guess that went around a little bit of whether you could or couldn't. I know they're being rewritten as we speak, but the board said you could. And you had a dollar limit in there,
Yes.
and you had a limit from this.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
and really escalate. I just want on the record that you know that the building was donated and it has all these things that if you add physically onto it, it's to match the other side and all that. So this pavilion is not attached to the building.
No.
So that's, I think, why they agreed. That it's not ruining the architecture of that building.
Okay.
Yep. So we are going to get plans from this person
Yes.
here? Okay.
Yes.
Do you plan to come back to the planning board with those plans? With the drawing and everything? Is it pretty much similar to the sawmill
Yes.
pavilion? Okay. Does the sawmill have electricity?
I don't think so. And it doesn't have a concrete slab either.
Okay.
It's just
So-
stone.
But the
But the structure
itself
is.
will end up
yes.
looking similar
Yeah.
to that. And in the same location as the tent?
No, the tent was on the road. That was the clearest spot we could have for it. It would actually go to the south side.
Okay.
So if the parking lot is here and Stage Road is here, it would be right there. So
Okay.
they're actually going to take out a tree that needs to be out anyway to clear the space for it. But
Okay.
yeah, so it'll be back in that
So we're
corner.
parallel to Stage Road?
Yes.
Are you planning any type of walkway from the parking lot?
No, not necessarily. That those two parking spots that are already over there will be very close to where it is.
I don't know if there's anything ADA compliance if you
It's
need.
pretty flat over there too. Yeah,
Is it just as long as it's flat, it doesn't need to be paved or
I
anything?
don't believe so,
Okay.
but I can check into that too.
Any idea when, a time frame for when you might, I mean, obviously, you have to hire an engineer or someone to make plans and all that stuff.
Our biggest thing is to have it done before the end of June
End of June
when
next
summer
year.
reading starts again. Yeah.
Are they looking for information from the, I don't know, I mean, in terms of moving forward or what would
They
they?
didn't say really,
No, I
that,
just
not
we
that,
just
but
kind
just
of wanted to come to
us.
see what the process is.
Okay.
And I,
Um,
with a slab involved, look at the regulations for slab
Right.
and
Mhm.
water level, because it is in an area that's,
Right.
they're doing things to make it work, right? So introducing a slab and runoff might be, when we have our building inspector back there. He's very detailed.
That's good.
And the safety, because you don't want the basement flooding, right?
Right.
That Mike, or our chairman, correct. You just want an engineer to look at.
Okay. You're welcome to come back anytime, and normally what we do, we'll review the plans, the process, just like a site plan review. We can make suggestions, we can make comments, what we think is proper based on our regulations and the master plan and all that stuff.
Right.
So like I said, once you have an application and stuff or whatever, you can certainly come back to us and we can certainly do that.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, application by Richard Charbonneau and Seth Miller for a lot line adjustment. Map 18 lots 56 and 68, property located at 1 Hale Way, a private road, and 381 Charles Bancroft Highway. The lot line adjustment is for 12.755 acres from lot 68 to lot 56. If the aforementioned application is accepted, notice is hereby extended to application approval, consideration, or continuation to a date certain as required. Is the applicant present this evening?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Morgan Hollis. I'm an attorney at Gottesman and Hollis, 39 East Pearl Street, Nashua, New Hampshire. I'm here representing the applicant, Richard Charbonneau, as well as the abutting property owner and co-applicant, Seth and Hannah Miller. Mr. Charbonneau is here with me this evening. Also with me this evening is Greg Jeffrey of Jeffrey Land Survey, who prepared the application, and they've just asked me to present it. As a preliminary matter, I'm just going to introduce the project. It's a pretty straightforward if you've had a chance to look at the plan, but for the record, I'm going to run through it and introduce it. I would also note in advance that a number of waiver requests were filed with it. However, in my review, in our collective review, discovered that there were probably a couple waiver requests that were site plan waivers that don't need to be submitted. And then there were a couple of subdivision reg requirements that we need a waiver for that were not submitted. And I have those waivers with me tonight. I'll submit them at the same time. So if I might, and Rick can be my Vanna White here, this property is a lot line relocation, as everybody calls it, which is technically and legally a subdivision of land. But it involves two parcels of land. One is owned by Mr. Charbonneau, which is lot 18-56, outlined in yellow. That has an address of 381 Charles Bancroft Highway. It's identified, as I say, as lot 18-56. It's currently 1,090,379 square feet. And it has one house and a barn on it. The neighboring property is owned by Seth and Hannah Miller, and it's identified as lot 18-8, and that is outlined in a combination of red and orange. It's a red outline. And Hale Road, the access, 1,228,000. The two neighbors have reached an agreement for the purchase of a portion of lot 1868, a portion of the Miller property being purchased by Mr. Charbonneau. The portion is approximately 12.755 acres, and that is the area outlined in orange. So it's a rectangular piece. The plan this evening and what you've looked at shows the lot line relocation. Easiest way to describe it, I think, for the record, is it's eliminating the east-west boundary, which is here. Eliminating that and drawing a new boundary here. So the shape goes, as Greg so kindly put it, from Kentucky and Tennessee, it goes to sort of a different shape. We're just adding this piece, parcel A, onto 1856. It's not proposed to do any development. It's just enlarging one piece and shrinking the other piece. The result is lot 1856 goes to 1,645,999 square feet. That's 37.787 acres. And 18-68 shrinks to 672,889 square feet, or 15.447 acres. It's all shown on the plan. Lot 18-68 will remain as a single-family home lot, as will lot 18-56. On the lot that's being reduced, 1868, there's more than enough land there remaining. Obviously, 15 acres is more than excess of the minimum lot size. There's no change in the frontage issues because we're not creating a new lot. All the lots remain the same. As I mentioned at the beginning, the application is submitted, requesting 5 waivers with the application. Should you deem the plan is ready for acceptance, I'll just run through those waivers. Of the waivers, really only 3 applicable. That is, number one, fast this, but particularly on a subdivision of this scale, and size to have a plan where the horizontal scale is not exceeding 100 feet per inch. You'd end up with multiple plans, huge, difficult to record. So we're asking for a waiver because there's no real valid purpose in requiring it. And if you waive it, the purpose of having the plan readable, which is really the intent here behind the scale, it's satisfied with this scale. So that's one waiver. 2 is 530E, the topo requirements, the contours of 5 feet are required. Again, the same issue. We're not changing, we're not proposing any development in this area. We're just taking off a piece of a very large backyard and adding it to another backyard. Number 3 was 530G, which is soil types and boundaries. Again, because of the nature of this application, the lot line relocation, it's really an unnecessary hardship imposed, and yet if you waive it, it'll still be in keeping with the spirit and intent of the ordinance. There were also, as I said earlier, 2 applications for waivers submitted. One was 120.1A traffic and 150.7Q stormwater drainage plan. Those have to do with site plans, as you know. We're not presenting a site plan, so those are going to be withdrawn. You don't need to act on those waivers. However, we have 2 new ones. 530M of the subdivision regulations, which has to do with the sedimentation and erosion control. And I'll submit those with this for your consideration. I'll just read it into the record for the public. The waiver requested is nature of hardship or specific conditions of the land. The production of a sedimentation and erosion control plan for the subject project will present an unnecessary hardship. The ordinance is in place to identify additional lots or oppose any development of any kind that would contribute to the sedimentation and erosion is in keeping with the spirit and intent of the ordinance. The second one is a waiver on 530D, area of wetland to be notated on every plan. This plan has the area of the lots, both before and after, but it does not have the area of the high and dry versus the wet area. The wetlands are shown, but not specifically flagged. The nature of the hardship is the notation of area of wetlands for the subject project would present an unnecessary hardship to the applicant. The ordinance is in place to identify dry areas for development. The applicant is not proposing any new development or any new lots, therefore granting of the waiver is in keeping with the spirit and intent of the ordinance. Again, they're shown on the plan, so there's a rough area, but if I had to go out and flag it, which would be normal for a development, it's just kind of an expenditure of funds which doesn't provide any new information to the board in terms of its deliberations. So, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Over here, okay? Or-
Sure. I mean, you can give it to me. That's fine.
I'm going to go to the same place.
Thanks.
And with that, happy to answer any questions, but I think you have to decide if it's ready for application. We would ask you if, because of the nature of this plan, you might be willing to consider application acceptance and approval on the same evening. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Just a quick question. I know, Jay, you mentioned about the stormwater issue. And since I know they're not submitting that waiver, do we still want them to identify the existing septic systems?
That's section 520E, location of existing septic systems and water supply wells with protective radii. So that one I flagged as well.
Okay, and I guess I haven't talked to Greg, but my reading of it was similar to him. I think in his application, he checked it as not applicable, and I read it as, well, we're not creating any new septics, so I'm not sure why it's not applicable because you're just adding excess land to another piece. But if the board wants us to flag it, I think Greg can probably go out and locate them pretty easily and add them to the plan if you want to make that as a condition.
Just the main concern would be as to lot 16
STA to ensure that,
And
we're not, because there's a brook, that property line is pretty much on a brook.
and if it impinges on the 75-foot well protected the radii, then there would have to be an easement.
would have to be an easement. So we'll flag this. I think we can say they're not. Make a representation.
There's no well, it has town water.
Okay.
That's,
Jess, did you come up and testify? Thanks.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening, board. My name is Seth Miller, property owner at 1 Hale Way here in Litchfield. So to testify to the question at hand, it's one single family home right now. There is no well. There is a leach field that's located in front of the home. And I'm going to share the boundaries of this. Does this have the house? Does this have the house?
Yes.
Yeah. Doesn't impinge with any of the zoning setbacks for that house or any other, the leach field, anything like that. Everything's in front of the house.
probably about, from the back of the house to that new property line is about 400 feet. Approximately.
Scale is right
Yeah,
here.
it's 200, that's 2 inches easily.
Yeah, because that line is at that brook. When we went through the building process, we kept everything well away from that for numerous reasons.
If there's no well, that
And that's
satisfies
really-
me. We just probably want to change note 5 because that says that, the properties are served by private wells.
And we'd have to change the waivers as well. They're listed on the plan.
So just add one more waiver, right? That's for 120E.
Just a quick question. The lots that are being, for the lot line adjustment, they're not subject to any mortgages or encumbrances, I assume.
Mine doesn't have a mortgage, but his doesn't.
His does?
And we have to
Okay.
work that out.
We have to get a
We have-
partial release.
we
You got to get a partial
yeah, we'll
release.
get the
Okay,
release from the
all
bank.
right,
Yeah, and that process doesn't start until this is accepted.
right, okay.
Bank won't start that until this is
Right.
approved by the planning board.
Does anybody else have any questions for the applicant?
Just a bit technical.
Yeah.
It's fine. Was it 510F, the scale, or 510G?
It's actually 510G, but the waiver request was 510F.
Okay. Just making sure I understood.
It's actually, so it's confusing because the checklist says one and the
Right.
regulations say the other. We've got to fix it.
Oh, okay, okay. Just
Yeah, I
making
think
sure.
he was going by
As
the.
long as
It's
it's
going by the checklist.
okay with scale. Was that for scale? That was for
Scale
scale.
is
As
on
long
the
as, okay.
Would you, since we're making these little minor changes after the fact, would you like to check?
Probably because we need to change it. We need to
Is there a regional impact?
Never gonna have any neighbors close enough. Right?
Um, okay. All right. Anything else, Jim?
No, I just want to make sure.
Anything?
Right. If we were making a motion, we had the right
Probably accepts the
number,
application.
Yeah.
letter.
So we kind of doing it backwards here, but what I'm going to do is we're going to first do what we normally do in these things is we'll accept the application for its completeness and make sure that we have everything that we need for the application. And once we take that vote, then we will I'll open, we'll close public comment and we'll take a vote, I assume, on the. Okay. So have all fees been paid, all identified for
Yes,
this
they have.
project? And do we have all of the required documentation, plans,
And deeds, waivers.
waivers, all of that? Okay, very good. Oh, and we'll also vote on the waivers as well. I forgot about that. Okay. Hearing that we have the paid We have notified all the auditors, and we have a completed application. I entertain a motion to accept the application for completeness on this project.
So moved.
I have a motion by James. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kate. Do I have any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of acceptance of the application for completeness for second, this application, lot line adjustment, map 18, lots 56 and 68, property located 1 Hale Way and 381 Charles Bancroft Highway. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 6-0. That is the acceptance. We did go through the waivers, so at this time, what I'll do is I'm going to open it up for public comment. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on this this lot line adjustment this evening? All right. And I assume Mr. Blackwell is, hello, he's our building inspector. You don't have any comments, I assume. Okay, very good. All right. Hearing no other public comment, I'll close public input and I'll bring it back to the board. Do you want to vote on the waivers first? How do you want to do it? Do you want to do them separately or do you want to do them? So we have 510F, 530G, 530E, and the ones mentioned 530M and 530D. Anybody have any questions about those?
And Jay's.
520E.
And 520E, excuse me. Thank you. Okay.
So the 520E, you were satisfied because there's no private wells, just updating
Yes.
the,
Yeah.
and to say that, okay.
And that would be reflected on the plan.
Yeah, just modifying note 5.
Okay.
Right, so did you put that on one of our conditions?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll make a motion to approve the applied for waivers
Okay.
with the condition that that note is updated on that plan.
Okay.
Second.
Motion, I have a second. Do I have any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the waiver requests, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 6-0. Okay. So that leaves us with approval. Or what is the will of the board? Do they have any further questions or did you want a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion to approve by James. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Sam. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the application by Richard Charbonneau and Seth Miller for lot line adjustment, map 18, lots 56 and 68, property located 1 Hale Way, private road and 381 Charles Bancroft Highway. Lot line adjustment to transfer 12.755 acres from lot 68 to lot 56. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So out front, everybody's wondering what I'm doing. Alvern is going to plant hay out there. So it's going to be a hay field instead of a cornfield.
Okay, wow, all right.
Great.
That's the change.
I like it.
It's been big
Cool.
news in town.
Good for Albert.
I actually got tired of it looking messy in the fall when they didn't come in corn early enough.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll like that. My wife made me change it.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Well, it is lot line, but the lot line is technically. But it's okay.
Okay.
In terms of the regs, it still falls under.
Committee reports. Any reports from any committees? Do you have anything?
Do I have reports? Of course I have reports. The Board of Selectmen is supposed to be meeting on Monday, September 22nd, but that's canceled. Instead, it's going to be the Capital Improvement Plan Committee.
Yes.
So
Right,
So
we're
that
having a
means,
meeting.
so that means we've got a place to meet.
we have a place to meet, which will be
yes.
here at 6 o'clock. So to let everybody know about that. I'll do this National Regional Planning Commission. I'll do that out of order. Our next quarterly meeting is Wednesday, September 21st in Nashua at NRPC's headquarters at 30 Temple Street in Nashua. As far as the planning board, I would like everyone to know that we have to thank a lot of people, NRPC especially, and Joan and Kevin Lynch, who were assigned with this. Planning board, Board of Selectmen, school board. Kate, you were very good also helping. There were so many people, Steve Gagnon from Recreation. So many people came together on this. And it's very nice to see when a town comes together how great this does. So those two grants that were for the Pinecrest sidewalk, and what was the other one? Oh, the intersection at Corning and 3A. We did pass them in on when was it? August 5th or whatever the deadline was. It was a Friday.
Yeah.
They have been submitted. So I want to thank everybody out there in the town who helped pull that together. And that's all I have to review for the planning board. Thank you.
Okay, great. Conservation met at the beginning of the month on the, was it the 5th? 4th of August. The Lower Merrimack Local River Advisory Committee meeting has not had a meeting, but I did get some correspondence from Fran Murphy, and I think there might be something being planned in the next couple of weeks. I think there's a project that's up for consideration. The CIP meeting is scheduled for October 20th at 6 o'clock here in Town Hall. And I think that is everything.
And conservation is September 1st.
And conservation is September 1st, and that's at 6:30 in here in Town Hall. Okay. Kate, do you have anything?
No, there was no budget committee meeting in July. Next one is next week, but it's still, budget season doesn't start until September.
Okay.
Nothing to report.
I have minutes for August 2nd, 2020.
They're not there.
I don't have the minutes, so we won't approve them yet. We'll table those. Okay, that takes care of that. Any other business? I don't know if the board has had an opportunity to take a look. I know that the budget was sent out for the town. It is budget season, and I believe the budget committee is not the budget committee. This Board of Selectmen is going to start with the process of having the department heads and committees.
It's the same, but I'll get it.
It's like end of August that starts or something.
Yeah, so I just didn't know, and I did get an email from Karen White about any changes that the planning board is looking to make. She didn't know. I still having a meeting tonight, so I guess it's nothing much there. Okay. All right. Do you have anything, Jay? Anything to add?
I do not.
Okay. I did submit the letters of recommendation for that project, the grants. So planning board was in on that. Thank you, Kim, and thank you, Jay, for the work on that. And I guess our next meeting is in September. Is there anything scheduled coming, or do we know, or anything? I don't know if we wanted to have a workshop in September, if anyone's interested.
You could certainly put pull one.
Or we could have a discussion about, looking at the regulations and, what we'd like to see changed or not changed for the upcoming year, 2023. So something to think about. And that's all I have. Joan, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I always do.
I should have asked.
I also wanted to thank Matt Wakens and Christina Harrison. I said school board, but everyone came through with those letters. Jay, you passed out at our last meeting the statement, not a statement of work, but a between RPD and the engineer that's
Yes.
going to look at Albuquerque. The Board of Selectmen approved that to happen, so I'm not sure when you're going to get that started, but you work that out with your
I'll reach
Your
out to
staff.
them and try to get a time frame from them.
So you remember that he passed out a document that had 5 tasks with X's on them for dollars, and we were going to go back to the board and
Scope of
see
work.
which ones the board wanted to do, and then he'd fill in the dollar values. The board said to do all 5 if you can.
Yeah.
And NRPC is paying for it unless it's horrendous, and if it is horrendous, please come back and tell us.
I will.
So we don't have a surprise bill. But if it is free, we would take that. You brought up maybe some zoning issues, also a master plan. With the POFA issue, I don't know if maybe looking at our natural resources one, it's about 20 years old. It does talk about water and supplies like that. That might be, we can look at it to see if it
We
makes
certainly
sense.
can look at it. Yes.
Because that might be something to review. I think the Board of Selectmen is trying to think maybe longer term, how we're going to work with Pennachuck or find another solution, but at least examine, at least see what we have here. Now, what they had 20 years ago might be different than what we have now, but at least look at
And we should look at community facilities. We were for a while, and then I believe the process of come back to kind of
kind of in limbo, I think, right now.
Yeah.
Albuquerque and CIP, impact fees, all those things are kind of just waiting for those to happen,
wait and see.
right?
Okay. All right. Since we have no other business this evening, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. Second, discussion. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 6-0-0. Thank you for joining us this evening. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you in September.